Hi everybody, I'm Justin from Main Man Bassing. In this video, I'm going to review what I think is the best bass fishing book on the market. It's The Big Bass Zone by Hall of Fame angler Bill Siementhal, and I think it's the primary author is Michael Jones, who's also an angler. If you're new to the channel, I do product reviews, fishing adventures, and how-to videos that all revolve around catching bigger bass in the Northeast. So if you're into fishing, I'd love to have you. Just hit that subscribe button. Also, at any point in the video you'd like to pick this book up right now, there are Amazon links in the description box. You can click it and take it from there. And it's currently in ebook format through the Kindle app. And the Kindle app is free, so that's great. But in this video, I'm going to give you my analysis of the book, and I'm going to tell you why I think it should be the cornerstone of your bass fishing literature library. And in the background, there'll be videos playing of me applying this Big Bass Zone mindset and how it's helped me over the years just consistently catch bigger bass. Before I do that, before I get into the review, I just want to mention that Bill Siementhal, he has organized the BBZ Bass Junior Championship League, and it is for teenagers ages 13 to 19, and they can compete at the state or national level, and they have to register, and I think it's like $25 right now. And they can register for the state or the national level, and they have to get an official ruler and an official ID card, and then they can just take pictures of the bass they caught, measuring it, and their leaderboards. And I think how this works is, depending on how well they do, they can be invited to the national championship and be featured in like Bassmasters magazine. And Bassmasters looks like to be one of the primary sponsors of it, and they're advertising $300,000 worth of total prizes. And Bill Siementhal is advertising a $30,000 bass cat fishing boat as a top prize. So if you are between the ages of 13 and 19 and bass fish competitively, or you know somebody who between those ages that fishes competitively, share this link with them. It'll be in the description box below. I thought it was pretty cool. I just wanted to get it out there. On to the review. The Big Bass Zone. I'm so glad I stumbled upon it. I think if you're a new angler, it's going to be great for you. And I think if you're an experienced angler, you're going to have to be able to develop a different focus or a different mindset of not how to fish, but what fishing is, right? And I'm talking about like real special bass. I've had this mindset for the last couple of years, handful of years, right? And each season I'm getting better. And what I thought I was pulling up big bass last year, and I was successful, and I would consider myself successful most of the time throughout the year. But this year is just like, I just can't get over these bass that I'm pulling up. Like, I'm talking like, you get your hand down there to pull it up out of the boat, you like that jaw, man. It's just like, it's a special bass. And I was catching bass on these lakes that I thought were big. You know what I mean? And now I'm catching on the same lakes. I'm catching these just like phenomenal bass. Like I can't explain, articulate it. It's like being in shock, right? I guess because I pull a couple of these bass up, and all I can say is wow. That's all I can say is just wow, wow, wow. You know what I mean? So, but that's what I'm kind of talking about. And to be able to consistently do it and narrow down your locations and do it more effectively and efficiently is what you can get from this book. I really like the way this book is written. It reminded me of breaking down classic literature, because there's like these tiers of information that in each tier sort of develops this understanding, right? So it's like you're breaking apart this piece of literature, but at the top tier comes the top the highest understanding, and that is what bass fishing is, right? And what it's not is convincing yourself that you're the top predator, and that's why you caught this bass, or that's why you have success in the past catching these bass. It's not you being a top hunter employing a top tactic that gets the bass. right? That's not what fishing is. What it is, and this is kind of trendy, right? Being a bass hunter. You see it on YouTube and fishing tournaments and fishing shows, and I'm hunting them biggins down, and I'm a big old bass hunter, right? Like, it's very trendy and it's very popular and widely accepted. But the BBZ, what the BBZ is understanding that you will succeed when you've convinced the bass that it's the top predator, and that's why it's successful, right? So it's a complete, the revolutionary concept is just 180 degrees different than what really dominates the bass fishing market. So that's that top tier, and it's real interesting. It's real subtle, this information that's in print about this top tier of understanding. It's only like one paragraph. But everything below that tier supports this fundamental concept that you need to convince the bass to succeed, right? Like that you convince the bass that it is succeeding, and ironically, you'll be successful. Not you employing these successful tactics that lead to success. It's not, So, but anyways, that's like the top tier, right? And then below that, or the tier 2, is what I call the fundamentals of fishing, right? And that's location and presentation. So the locations emphasized are points, drop-offs, flats, humps, creek channels, and ridges, and the structure and cover within those locations. And then how to present your lure effectively. You want to present that lure parallel to the structure. So if you have your bank, right, and your bank runs left to right, and you have a piece of structure in front of it that you think a bass might be, well, you want to set your boat up parallel, cast past that structure, and bring your lure through it. You don't want to be out casting in and then bring the lure over open water. You don't want to do that. And you want to fish uphill as much as possible. So if you have your decline, right here, your slope, you want to be up here casting out and parallel into open water and bringing that lure uphill. So that's why, and then within that tier, there's these subcategories of wind, bait fish, structure cover elements, how to use your sonar, climate or seasonal changes, weather patterns, things like that. And it covers a lot of angles, but it all sort of compiles into the importance of location and presentation. And then the third tier, which is mostly comprises the literature in the book, right? This is what most of the book is written about, is just sort of disqualifying or debunking these popular, how we've been conditioned to believe what bass fishing is, and these popular statements that are widely accepted regarding what bass fishing is. In the background, like I chose this right now, I'm ice fishing, and I chose this video because I've been ice fishing for 2 years, and prior to ice fishing I did a lot of research, and all the reputable pros and the reputable professional guides, they're all saying you're going to find your bass are only going to be at 40 feet off sharp drop-offs or tapering points. So that's where you need to be. There's a lot said about fish not being able to survive or function in shallow water because there's no oxygen, the pH level, the thermocline, et cetera, et cetera. So the first year, dude, wow, talk about a winner. I mean, I was out there every time I ice fish off these points and off these sharp drop-offs, nothing. Didn't even see a bass. Didn't even, on the sonar, didn't even see anything that remotely resembles a bass. So the second year I just said, you know what, I'm just going to fish how I know how to fish. And I would set up on banks, and I'd have my traps running from shallow to deep on those drop-offs, and I caught a lot more bass. And this bass is definitely a special bass. Like this is a giant bass for sure. But I think it illustrates the point really well that this tier 3 level of information understanding is unlearning what you've been conditioned to accept as fishing, which mostly is tactic and lures, right? Presentations and lures. That it's not like, so what happens is, right, like there's a tournament, right? In this pro wins a tournament, right? And keep in mind that a couple of days a year, a couple of anglers happen to get a 25, 30-pound bag and win $100,000. And then that's just marketed everywhere. It's on TV, it's on cable, it's in the magazines, newspapers, it's on YouTube, it's on the anglers' YouTube, it's on the sponsors' YouTube, everywhere from their lines, rods, lures, reels, to their boats, to their engines. It's all there, plastering that moment, right? And so, the reporter goes to the angler, hey, stud pro, with an incredibly marketable face and an amazing attitude. How did you win this tournament? And the pro goes, well, the sun came up and that water temperature rose about 3 degrees, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a little laydown, tapered from 3 to 7 feet, right? And I also noticed there's quite a bit of bluegill, so I got my green and yellow crankbait, right? And I just cast that out there, and I just did a nice, steady, slow tree, right? But here's the thing, man, I paused it right there, right? He let that bait rise up, and that big old bass could not resist that presentation or that lure, and that's how I won the tournament, right? And so that moment gets plastered everywhere, and then we all think it's marketed to us everywhere, and then we all think that that's the tactic to succeed. And by the way, I'm not disqualifying, I'm joking around in the voice, but I'm not disqualifying pro anglers who are incredibly good anglers, just phenomenally successful. No way, dude. Their job's too hard and they're too good at it. Like, I'm not, the sacrifices that they make, the effort, everything they put into it. I'm not disqualifying that. What I'm saying, though, is that we allow ourselves to be conditioned to believe that that's what fishing is. So the issue becomes, right, when we're on our lakes, and here's the thing is, right, it's a viable tactic that won that tournament. Absolutely, 100%. We do it, and we reinforce that that's what fishing should be. We're the predators using a presentation and a lure to successfully catch a bass, right? Like, that's what we think fishing is. But the issue becomes when tactic one doesn't work. What do? Well, we look back to the year before and the championship before. Hey, well, there was a steady cloud cover and a little bit of wind, so I took out my, and the water temperatures were stable, so I took out this spinnerbait, and I just cast out there, and I just had that nice, steady, slow roll, nice, steady retrieve, and at this point, I'm just trying to cover as much water as possible, and if I get bit, I'll go and I'll try to pinpoint the structure and see what the bass are, but by goodness, that bass just could not resist that crankbait and that slow retrieve. And that's how I won the tournament. Right? And so we go, okay, so we'll employ tactic 2. And we go and do tactic 2. If tactic 2 works, we're screwed because we've just reinforced this concept of what fishing is or what it should be. But it's not true because it doesn't always work. Now you're down to tactic 1, tactic 2 not working. What do? Well, there's storm rolled in yesterday and put these bass on a lockjaw, right? And the environmental agency is saying that their pH levels are rising and all the dead leaves in the bottom layer are burning up all the oxygen, and they're just not biting today. Can't do it, right? And so unfortunately, we convince ourselves that we can't catch bass because we've convinced ourselves what the pros are saying, and not even really what the pros are saying, but what's marketed to us is the eternal truth of what fishing is. Being a successful hunter and predator and employing a tactic, right? And so ironically, you convince yourself you can't catch bass by convincing yourself what someone who does is successful is what fishing is. But so that tier 3 is really just like debunking myths. Like, you can't catch bass on a hot sunny day with no wind. Not true. Total contradictions to that left and right, man. But I think it's a phenomenal book. I'm so glad I stumbled upon it. You will, if you accept it and you can understand it, and you go out and apply yourself, you will see results. And you got to keep it up and just keep. I try to read it every season, and just keep having this mindset of what fishing is, and just trying to narrow down your locations and your presentation of your lures, and you will be successful, no doubt. That's the video. Hope you liked it, hope it helped. If you're new to the channel, I'd love to have you to sub, so hit that subscribe button. If you want to pick this book up, Amazon link in the description box. If you're interested in Bill Siementhal's BBZ Junior Championship, link in the description box. That's it. I hope you start catching some really bigger bass soon. All right, so thank you.